Now, last week, the Prime Minister, the Honorable Amama, was asked to verify or speak on matters about his constituency, Kanungu, on reports and allegations that a couple of youth had been arrested. Supporters of the Prime Minister had been arrested for crimes committed in Kanungu. And yes, indeed, while speaking on the floor of Parliament, the Prime Minister did confirm that some people who are his supporters had been arrested for arson. And he did also insist that most of those people arrested had been harassed by the police, of course speaking out on the brutality meted on them by the police and asking the Inspector General of Police to investigate these crimes. Tonight we discuss what happened then, and of course the reaction we have seen from the IGP himself, who says the Prime Minister had not properly been briefed. But that and much more on Newsnight. Welcome back. You're watching Newsnight. Andrew Mwenda, the old man of the clan, and also the CEO of the Independent magazine. Andrew,
and the man of broken hearts.
Well, that's an interesting one. Let's discuss matters Kanungu.
Yes,
There's
first
battle
of all,
brewing
I want to
between
help correct your allegations.
Two strong forces, the IGP and the Prime Minister. Yes.
First, the Prime Minister did not say that they had been brutalized.
He said his people had been harassed.
They had been arrested.
Yes.
Without any what they call circumstantial evidence,
yes,
or prima facie evidence that they were
yes,
involved, except on the confession of somebody who went to court and even denied. But let me tell you, it is not what happened in Kanungu. It is the evolving battle between Amama and Kayihura.
How do we connect this to what happened in Kanungu? Do you think there is a connection?
You see, it is how Mbabazi interpreted it. You see, Mbabazi does not say that this is just a minor innocent police investigation that has been botched. The way he spoke in Parliament, he was saying that this is a deliberate attempt by the Inspector General of Police to arrest supporters of Amama Mbabazi in order to undermine the Prime Minister in his own constituency. Of course, the police chief, Kayihura, insists that this was an innocent arrest, and if those supporters of Mbabazi were arrested, it was just a mistake by the police rather than a deliberate attempt to undermine Mbabazi politically. But I personally felt that this war between Kayihura and Amama Mbabazi in many ways is exposing Mbabazi. You see, power is about perception. When Mbabazi was appointed Prime Minister, there was a widespread perception in Uganda that he is effectively number 2 to President Yoweri Museveni. He's also Secretary General of the party. He's Prime Minister. He has been everywhere. If Kayihura can begin making you sweat and begin declaring in the Parliament and elsewhere that the Inspector General of Police is harassing you, then it means the Inspector General of Police is more powerful than the Prime Minister. It means that Mbabazi's position within the NRM and within the government and cabinet has been significantly diminished. That at one time, remember, there were peace talks between Kayihura and Amama Mbabazi. So how can the Prime Minister be having... The Prime Minister should be ordering the Inspector General of Police. So from the mere fact of perception, I think that Kayihura has played his cards well, Mbabazi hasn't. Unless Mbabazi has calculated that by demonstrating that he's a victim of Kayihura's tyranny, then he will attract public sympathy, which will reinforce his political standing. But can only reinforce it if Mbabazi is willing to quit NRM and go against it openly. But how can he be a Secretary General of NRM, a Prime Minister of the country, whose supporters are being harassed and he's helpless? But
there is a system in which governments work. The Minister of Internal Affairs, under which the IGP falls, reports to the Prime Minister as Prime Minister. And I'm sure for him to summon the IGP, he should have then asked that the Minister of Internal Affairs, the Minister, does summon the IGP to make a report. However, it does look, and you also agree, that the Prime Minister gets a briefing from the office of the Inspector General of Police. And that briefing maybe was done poorly, and the reason why the Prime Minister had a different report from Kanungu.
Well, actually, the Prime Minister did not get a briefing from the police. The Prime Minister is saying that he called the police officer in charge and informed them that they should not be harassing his own supporters.
Yes.
So it looked to me from the answer the Prime Minister gave is that the Prime Minister is literally pleading with the police. You see, I think that there is a power struggle in Uganda and inside the NRM, and that power struggle is who is the effective number 2, who is the second most powerful man in the country.
Can you answer that?
I think that from this discussion,
Yes.
Kale Kayihura seems to be the next most powerful man, because if Mbabazi is the closest man to Museveni, he's the Secretary General of the Party and Prime Minister, why doesn't he call Kale to order? Why doesn't he call Kale and say, you stop doing this, you stop doing that? It appears that he can only appeal to Parliament, he can also appeal to public, or he can appeal to President Museveni to rein in Kale. I do not think that 5 years ago, or even in 2011 when he had just been appointed Prime Minister, the Inspector General of Police, even if it was Kale Kayihura as he is, could have gone to the constituency and arrested non-supporters of the Prime Minister and just gotten away with it.
I think this must have come up. You and I are aware the Prime Minister was with the President last week, and for the better part of last week, on a particular day, spent some time in Rachtura. It could have been one of the issues that came up.
I think it suggests to me, you know, I'm trying to read from what Mbabazi is saying.
Yes, you're reading from one body language.
Prime Minister,
yes,
if the Prime Minister had, I think I know Mbabazi very well. He's a very strong character. If he had the power to wield, he would not wield it in public, but I think that quietly he would have made Kale Kayihura know. And the fact that Kale Kayihura can defy him, you see, first of all, Kale Kayihura cannot defy Mbabazi unless Museveni is on the side of Kale Kayihura.
Yes, but
and
in this report, we don't see Kayihura defying the Prime Minister. He actually says the Prime Minister probably was given the wrong briefing. And that is why he stands out to correct. Yes, it stands out
that's very correct. But it could also be that Kale Kayihura is being diplomatic. You know, they say in a power play that when you are a victor, when you are triumphant, you should exercise what you would call humility. It could be that Kale recognizes that he has won over the confidence of the president. He has perhaps demonstrated to the president that the Amama Mbabazi is undermining the president and wants to run against the president. And now any action Kale takes against Mbabazi is seen by the president as a good action to defend the president's position in the party and the government. Do you see? To that degree, Kale therefore does not need to come to the press and complain that the Prime Minister is harassing me. You see, it is Mbabazi saying I'm being harassed. Kale is saying it's a normal thing that police. I mean, I get the sense for me from a purely angle of power play, how you play power. When you are victorious, when you are in a strong position, it is important for you to show magnanimity and meekness. You know, in Sun Tzu, an ancient Greek military strategist, Sun Tzu said that whenever you are weak, make the enemy think that you are strong, and whenever you are strong, make the enemy think you are weak. In which case, Kayihura is very strong and is trying to show that he's just following the law.
We'll end on that note. Thank you very much, Andrew Mwenda, and that was Newsnight.